Hey everybody, welcome to another Punk Perspectives. Today I have Andrew for America, who runs the Punk Rock and Politics podcast. Well, you're here. I'll let you introduce yourself. So,
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm Andrew for America. My show's called the Politics and Punk Rock Podcast. I basically do a lot of social commentary for the first part of the show, and then I'll end the show featuring a punk band from back in the day or around the world. Just I like to be able to provide some exposure to up and coming bands because I used to be in a band, many bands back in the day as well, and I remember what it was like. And now that those days are somewhat past for me, I kind of took that creative energy and put it into the show. And people are reaching out to me to invite me on and wanting to be on my show. I got bands reaching out to me at this point that want to be featured. So long as that continues, I'm going to keep doing it. So it's been fun.
yeah, hell yeah, man! Thank you for doing it. And
Yeah,
today we're going to talk about the song "Analog" from one of my favorite bands, Strung Out. Um,
me too. Yep.
Yeah, but wanting to get into that kind of what helped me fall into this and kind of what got me into punk rock as well was feeling like a lot like a misfit and like watching not just politics but like a lot of the world is having like a lot of it's like it seems like a joke and stuff and it feels like we're going into that right now. um
Sure.
which is I'm happy I got you here at this moment where it seems like it's again like that past somewhat repeating, and some of my friends are just thinking, oh, when Team Blue comes in there'll be a blue wave, things are going to get better. And just what I like about your side is like reminding people that it doesn't seem to really matter what team's in. We could probably still be in the situation that we're in now. So
Yeah, I feel like the two party system is an elite game that's for the peasants, that's for the peons to continue the divide and conquer agenda and keep people fighting with each other so that we're not pointing our finger at the people that are pulling the strings and making all the important decisions. And that is on hyper overdrive right now in society, in my opinion. It used to be um, I actually just recently did a episode called "The Political Spectrum," where I'm explaining the difference between traditionally classical liberal values, conservative traditional values, and where the overlap is, what they have in common, and what they disagree on. And did I just disappear off the
you
screen here?
did. Yeah,
Oh,
you're
okay. But and I make the point that the difference really isn't that much. And so the fact that the media and the government, whatever else you want to say, um, is is stoking those flames and getting people so riled up on the red versus blue playing field. And my constant point on the show is, why are we still concerned about this? We're all Americans. We're all on the same team. Just because, like, would you rather make the country better, or do you want your team to win every 4 years? And I've always been of the persuasion I want to make the country better for everybody, no matter what your race, color, creed, sexual orientation, political affiliation is. If you got here, you're here now. If you're not a criminal, you're not violent, and you're contributing to society, I say you stay. And now you're an American. Congratulations, you made it. So I just wish people thought about the issues in that way versus, oh, I got to be right and your team's got to be wrong all the time. That's getting us absolutely nowhere.
absolutely. And your camera did go off, by the way. So um,
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I thought that was from your end. Oh, my bad. Here you go.
No, no, you're there. You go.
Oh,
You're on
hey
now.
guys,
No, but
sorry.
no, 100%. Like again, that's kind of how I fell even into punk rock. So I wanted to ask you this too. What kind of got you into punk rock? Do you remember? Like, was it like a
Yeah.
moment or?
So for me, I was in the military right out of high school. I got stationed in San Diego, and I did 4 years in the Navy out there in San Diego. And while I was there, I met a bunch of, first of all, I started playing in a band with some guys that were in the Navy with me. I met a bass player out in town that we would practice right on base at this place called the Rec Yard, where you could rent a rehearsal space for, every hour, a couple hours, we'd go in there and hash out a set. And then we started trying to get shows. And right when I was getting out of the military, my band was getting shows all over the city. And we had the opportunity to play up in LA and Hollywood a couple times, um, and that's when I really got into punk rock. I really enjoyed bands like Blink 182 and Unwritten Law that came out of San Diego. I met all those guys back in the day. A lot of great bands down there in San Diego and in Orange County. Obviously, I mean, so many punk rock bands are from that area. So just being in the culture and in the scene and the environment there, I love the music from an early age. I was into metal when I was in high school, and then met my metal and hard rock love for that kind of music kind of transformed into punk rock, and I started really getting into like the Fat Records bands, Lagwagon, Propaganda, Strung Out for sure. Strung Out's one of my probably top three of all time favorite bands. So, and this song Analog is, I love the lyrics to this song because it's kind of like a death and rebirth song. It's kind of like what are you doing with your life, your short life while you're here on this planet, and the lyrics just always meant a lot to me. My old guitar player Sean from one of my old bands has a line from this song tattooed on his arm, and
Really?
it's probably my favorite phrase, line, cipher, whatever you want to call it,
Uh-huh.
um, from a lot of lyrics that I've read, and even the ones I've written myself. I mean, it's the line that goes here. I'll tell you guys. This is my favorite line from the song.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, we can read the lyrics too if you
That's
want to,
what
but
I was gonna do. I typically will read the lyrics, and then
oh
we
yeah, go
can
ahead.
kind of pick them apart, like what they mean to you as we go through it. If you want to jump into
Yeah,
it,
let's do
um,
that.
let's
Sounds
do
good.
that. Do that now, then too. And so this was 2004, and this song came out. I believe it's their self-titled album, right? Yeah,
I
2004.
believe so. Yep, yep.
Yeah. And yeah, this song for me always felt very isolation-y, but yeah, let's go through it. And also the beginning, the music part is so great too, with like how it even the start of the song. But yeah, I'll start
Yeah,
with the first verse here. You wear your hat the way you sip your tea. The memory of all that, Lord knows, they can't take that away from me. So just kind of the introduction, I guess. What is that? You know, and I guess I should have asked you this even beforehand. What was your first time hearing this song? Do you remember where you were? Did it hit you? Did it take a couple times to get into it? Like, what was your?
yeah, yeah. So I think, well, so the group of friends I was hanging out with back then, we all liked all the same bands, and when this record came out, um, we, I just, obviously we listened to the whole thing, and I'd pick it apart and look, and just this song, just first of all, I love the song, the music, and everything, but when I read the lyrics, I was just like, man, like it just touched a chord with me, and I still think about some of the lines from the song to this day. I mean, this has been, you know, almost 20 years later. I'm still thinking about these lyrics. So, yeah, I think it just was, checking out the record when it came out, already liking the band and being excited for their new material. And then when the new material came out, it did not disappoint. So,
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's get
yeah.
further into. Okay, so then, through the coolest haze of this dream, like maze, it has begun. And all I wanted you near with these wounds I bled, a perfect tone of red in isolation through the swollen eyes.
Okay. So he goes, yeah, through the swollen eyes of the dying. It's,
Yeah,
it's
then
kind
that
of,
goes into it. Of the dying and my
mm,
waking dreams, we're all dying to become what we swore we never would. Now I watch and mourn in bloom.
I love that. I love that. And that's what I'm saying. It makes me think about, what are you doing with your time here? And, we're all going to go through struggles and suffering, but, it's kind of like a creation, destruction, death, and rebirth vibe he's going for here. And I don't know what he's talking about that happened in his personal life, but I can relate to this in a number of ways. So,
For sure. And I kind of remembering too, when this song came out, this is like, so this would have been like right when we were going in to the Iraq War. Maybe the Iraq War was already like fully started. And it feels like kind of the same theme there. I remember you remember like the Rock Against Bush stuff that went through to
oh,
where
yeah,
as being young, I even thought like, wait a minute. So the only answer of making this whole system better is to be part of the system, and that's be by going in and voting blue, being blue team. We have to get team red out. That's why there's the wars, all this stuff, and then
sure.
and then feeling. I remember, I think it took. I don't think anything happened. That it took another 4 years, and it went all blue. Watching that kind of segue back and forth, and nothing really happened, right? But I guess yeah, diving into that, I remember that part kind of striking me, that line of kind of becoming who we swore we never were. Suddenly being an outsider, wanting to, like you said there, get things better ourselves, better the system, and suddenly you're just a part of it, playing.
Exactly. Yep. And this next line coming up is the one I'm talking about.
Okay,
It's my
okay,
favorite of all time.
where he gets the tattooed. Let me see here. Okay. All right. You take the way you know, I'll take the road unknown, and meet you there at the end of time. We are frequency, we are tragedy, we are the love we need to keep us here.
That's the one. That's the one. That's the one I remember still to this day. Yep.
And is that the one your
Lots.
friend has tattooed?
Yeah, that's the one. You take the way you know, I'll take the road unknown and meet you there at the end of time. We are frequency, we are tragedy, we are the love we need to keep us here. That's it, man. That's
That's
it.
okay,
That
bro.
explains a lot.
Very profound. Yeah, man. Oh, such a good song too. All right, then. So I'm happy to know this, and I'll keep it going too. So we'll finish
Yeah.
this up. And then it goes into again. We are the dying. We are the hungry ones. We are the waiting, forever faithful. I always like that line.
Hmm.
When I see you on the other side, I will not be the same as I was when I was yours.
Yeah, I wonder what Jason's talking about, man. It's deep.
I know. Do you think it's just like a love song? I'm just could
Yeah,
be.
like he's talking about a girl. Is he talking about his life? Like, what's he talking about here? I'm curious.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what's so great about music, though, is it goes out to who knows what he wrote it about. It can mean something different for everybody.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
we are the dying. We are the lonely ones. We are the haunted, forever waiting. And when I see you on the other side, I will not be the same um, as I was when I was yours. So it repeats it, but changes some of the words up. And
Hmm.
then the last bit here is the end of the song. Um, we've got the anger, fear, and isolation. We are the dying, exiled to this place. We've got the pain, separate the tragic years. We are the heartache. I've gone through all this waste, and when we finally separate ourselves, and when I see you, the world we choose to leave behind, I will not be the same as I was when I was yours.
Great song.
And like you said, that's those last lyrics that kind of emphasize again, like definitely a changing, like kind of like a growing up, like or self awareness, like um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's like I wonder if he's talking about, and he probably is. To your point about like what's going on in the world and just being blinded by the propaganda and um, just taking L after L, taking punch after punch in the chin, and people still think, oh, if we vote for that other team, that's going to change everything. And I'm just like, you guys, that is not the answer.
yeah,
Government is the problem. That's just my opinion. But
yeah. And is that so? Let me ask you this part. So, I guess when you first heard it, what did it mean to you at the time? And has it changed, or does it still, when you hear it today, how does it hit?
it hits the same. I mean, my favorite line is, "You take the way you know, I'll take the road unknown and meet you there." What I love about that line specifically is that the way I interpret that and why it means something to me is, you got one life to live. What are you going to do? You're going to play it safe, and you're going to do what everybody expects of you, and you're going to, don't rock the boat, don't ruffle any feathers, just try to stay in your lane, prevent as much negative and suffering as possible, and hopefully um, you won't have um, experienced too much hardship or heartache by the end of your life, right? But then there are those people that say, no, I'm going to squeeze the juice out of this life. I'm going to take the road unknown and meet you there. You know what I mean? So I just that's the line that jumps out to me that I still remember because I choose the road unknown personally.
Yeah, yes, and that's why it seems like really refreshing too when I see, that's why I got into your podcast and like listening to like a lot of the views that you share on there that I feel very connected with. Because again, what kind of got frustrating to me, especially being older now, watching like the cycles go through, is punk rock was supposed to be this like very big answer to like F the system, right? Like we can do things. It was a movement. We could have done things better. And suddenly over the years, it feels like it's really become more of like with the Rock Against Bush, and even right now, it's we got to go. It's going to be a blue wave. It's going to change things in. We're going to impeach him, and things are going to get better. But it's like we just had that. We had over the decades, we've had that multiple times. One thing it feels like that bugs me is when Team Blue is in, it seems like punk rock gets quieter about the authority that they enforce. And then secondly,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes that like when I stand back, it feels like punk rock has just become almost an extended arm of the Democratic Party. Like, I don't know. Do you see that? You see, get what I'm talking about to some point, or
I
yeah,
I think that there is that attitude amongst a lot of people that claim uh, punk rock. Um, I don't want to be disrespectful, but like kind of naively. I think it's a naive outlook because there are people that are they don't have they're classical liberal, I guess, if you had to put them on the spectrum. They're not super religious or traditional. They're not expecting you to they're not trying to take abortion away from women. They're not there's people that they don't have a problem with gay or lesbians, but they do like traditional values. Like the diversity of the spectrum of beliefs is so, I mean, there's so that you can't quantify it into these little cookie cutter things. Everybody, the party, in my opinion, the political parties, in my opinion, is a shortcut to thinking, oh, well, I was raised in this household. My parents were this. They voted for these people. These are the beliefs that they instilled in me. And without thinking, I'm going to espouse these beliefs as an adult because you're actually being traditional in a way. You're being conservative by doing that. And a lot of people that claim to be far lefties or very, anything anti-tradition or religion, um, is good, regardless of the behavior. And so it's like, you kind of end up being a poser and a hypocrite in a way, in my opinion, because you start saying, oh, well, F Trump and I'm Team Blue, but what about all the evils that the Democrats, are you kidding? You think Obama was a saint? Do you think Biden was a saint? Like don't look at me with a straight face and say all the problems that have ever happened in this country are because of Republicans. That is absolutely untrue and naive. So I think there is this attitude of you can't be a conservative, you can't be a Republican and be punk rock, and I find that to be very ridiculous. I think if you understand, like, I mean, think about Joe Strummer. Joe Strummer from the Clash is like, king of punk rock to me in a lot of ways, and he said back in the day, our message is, you've been brainwashed since the day you were born. It takes a lot. This is my favorite Joe Strummer line for the true punk rockers out there. You have to do a lot of personal work to be able to do any real thinking for yourself in this world. And I think that's probably one of the biggest themes of my show is, are your thoughts original thoughts? Are your beliefs original beliefs because you did the work and you did the research to arrive at those? Or are you just a parrot? Are you just mockingbirding what you've heard from other people, and it sounds good to you and your friends and your little bubble and your parents and your family think this way too. So I'm going to think that way in any controversial issue, anything that conflicts with that is externalized, and I'm going to look at it as the enemy, and that's falling into the divide and conquer agenda, in my opinion. That's the thinking that gets you into trouble, thinking that your neighbor is your enemy. No, your neighbor is your friend. The government controllers are your enemy. Don't forget that. That's my pitch to what does punk rock really mean. Anti-establishment and anti-authority. And what does anti-authority mean? It means that if you don't want to let other people make decisions for you and control your life, and you want to make those decisions for yourself, well, now that takes responsibility, that takes thought, that takes effort. And a lot of people don't want to do the work, but they want to have the viewpoint, and then that's a big problem to me. It's poser behavior.
yeah, man. Well, thank you. You saying it exactly again how I feel right there, and that's like one big thing that I'll get into I don't want to say arguments whatever, but I'll get called out if you will to where I'm like, well, just because I don't like Team Red, it's like this enemy of my enemies, my friend or whatever. And so I'll be like, I'm going to vote third party, or you know what? I might even exercise my right not to vote because I don't want to be part of the system at
Sure.
all. And I get yelled at and being like, no, like if you really understand, so we have to like you have to vote the other. You have to accept the two-party system, otherwise you're helping out Team Red. If I don't vote, but and it gets really absurd. Like you said, it's like original thoughts, and if it's like things that, like you said, the anti so many words you said there that I just you convey much more articulately than I do. But it's very
Think about it
weird.
all the time.
But
Yeah.
it's very weird that it comes into like the punk rock world too. Like you said, like the whole idea of it. Like I remember like crass lyrics and stuff too. Like there's no authority but yourself. But
Yeah.
so
Well,
quickly, yeah,
yeah. Well, I was going to say too, like, you hear people say, oh, if you're a Republican, you're a white supremacist. Oh, that's just by itself. That statement in and of itself is absolutely false.
right,
But people, that's a shortcut. It's easy to arrive there when the TV's telling you that, your friends are telling you that, the school's telling you that. Your entire environment is set up to make you think about things in a certain way. And that's what Joe Strummer from The Clash is saying, is that it takes a lot of work to do any of your own thinking. And if you
hmm
really want to be independent of authority, if you really want to be independent of the two establishment parties, that takes responsibility, that takes work. And that's taking responsibility for your actions and doing the work to learn things and make yourself better is what's lacking in the punk rock community these days, in my opinion. And I also think that this is supposed to be a community of unity. And when you tell people that they can't be a part of a community that's based on unity just because you don't like who they voted for, or you don't like what their beliefs are, I mean, not Nazi punks f off, right? Like the whole dead Kennedys thing. It's like, well, if real Nazis, of people that really were white supremacists or really believed in, you know, ethnocentrism or whatever you want to call it, do
yeah,
you really think they're going out to punk rock shows wanting to participate in a community of unity? No, they're not going there. So it's just a dumb argument to me that these people say that, oh, you can't go to a punk rock show if you're a white supremacist. Well, I don't think white supremacists, true white supremacists, want to go to punk rock shows, maybe a Screwdriver show or someone that shares their values there. But again, that's a little tiny bubble. That's not everybody. That's not accepting all people. And so anyway, that's just I'm a classical liberal, man. Like I was a sociology major in college. I've been very um, um, love and acceptance of all people, no matter what.
yeah,
So, I've always had the attitude of, I don't got a beef with you until you got a beef with me. If you got a beef with me, now we got a problem. But until then, I don't care who you are. Welcome to the show, man. Let's watch the show. Let's jump around. Let's drink some beers. Let's have a good time. I don't care what your politics are.
yeah. And then you can also convey it in conversation through song, and that's what I used to like about punk too. Is just that it was such a huge spectrum of just crazy, different all kinds of different thoughts from like legit like crazy artists, right? To more eloquent ones and all different kinds of themes in there. And yeah, and it's weird. It was very robotic that it's gotten to this thing to where like, this goes years back, but kind of back in that era of the 2000, I think it was more, maybe it was more around 2008 to where there was a lot of like Ron Paul was getting like some, and from what I've noticed, he was mostly about just like freedom in general, anti-war. And I don't want to, not like I was saying I was a full supporter, but I remember
Just good
part of that.
ideas. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, part of it was just though, oh, because he's a Republican though, or KKK members liked him. He's a white supremacist, like you just said. It's very
Right.
easy
It's
to
like
like,
such
yeah.
that, and that's what I'm saying. Like the mental gymnastics it takes to make those connections and jump to those conclusions
Mhm.
is proof, in my humble opinion, that the brainwashing works. It works very well. It's very effective. And that's what Joe Strummer was talking about. When Henry Rollins says this is punk rock time, this is what Joe Strummer trained you for. He's absolutely right, people. Go listen to Joe Strummer. If you call yourself a punk rocker, go listen to Joe Strummer's when he spoke about the things that mattered to him, and you tell me that he might sound like a conservative Republican to modern day punk rockers when they hear him talk. That's going to be a mind f for you. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
interesting how these ideas and how people define punk has changed over time.
Yeah. And
I
kind of
mean,
sad. Sad to
yeah,
me, to where it was supposed to be this place that was against the
commercialized and
system. Yeah.
commodified. Yep. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was agreeing with you. I was like, yeah, it's basically it's sad to where it was coming from a place that was supposed to be, unique, your own individualism, like, and now it's turned into this. Um,
Yeah, it used to be I'm an outcast, I'm a social outcast, I don't fit in, I want to go find my tribe. Well, then you go find your now that tribe wants to be part of the mainstream so bad, they're completely destroying the argument of what punk rock was in the first place. And that's the part that I think a lot of people miss.
yeah, there's
That
nothing
they don't
fucking controversial about it either. Like all of a
yeah.
sudden, when you become just that safe, like this way, it's nothing aggressive or changey. It becomes boring to a point, like,
Yeah. And that happens with every movement. I mean, think about the hair rock metal scene, Motley Crue days, and Poison and all those bands. Then Nirvana and grunge came in, and that entire attitude and thought process went away with the music, and this new thing came in. And punk's kind of always been that little engine that could, just kind of,
yeah.
going along with the ups and downs and the changes of the mainstream culture and the mainstream music. So it's sad that we're getting to a point where punk is changing. It's falling for the political propaganda, and it's forgetting what it originally was. Like when I hear Jello Biafra talk these days, when I hear Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine talk these days, and when I hear the lead singer from the Dropkick Murphys
Tim
speaking,
Casey.
I mean they're so not who they used to be, and I don't know if people can connect that. I don't know if these younger punk rockers remember back when these guys were much different than what they claim to be today. So even Fat Mike, I'd throw Fat Mike in that box too.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
ain't he ain't the same. I will not be the same as I was when I was yours. Perfectly
I was thinking of that
teams up with the
line.
song today.
Yeah, no, it's good because exactly is it, and it's kind of like kind of become like what they hate. It says that in there. I just never read the line, but you get where my point is. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
funny,
oh yeah.
Maybe they just need to make money though. They got to find out the easy ways to get cash. I don't know. So I've
Sure.
got
Yeah.
like three more questions. I know your time's valuable.
Yeah, no
So
worries.
one, um, I wanted to ask you. So I guess what inspired you to start doing the podcast? What got you motivated? What was the cherry on top to be like, you know what, I need to
Sure.
come out and start saying some
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, so well, okay, yeah, so back in the day, I put all of those types of thoughts into the lyrics for the songs that I was writing and all the bands that I was in. And when I moved back to Minnesota from California, I started a band called The Launch, and we started playing around the city here um, for like a year and change. And then that band kind of, we're all getting older, and people have families and responsibilities, so it wasn't as easy to keep it going. So while I was thinking, what am I going to do next creatively? Like, am I going to start yet another band? Do I want to play shows and try to do a little tour here or there?
Mhm.
Um, what am I doing next? And while I was going through that, um, I was listening to a lot of Dave Smith. I was listening to uh, I forget her name, Kim Iverson's show. I forget her name. Anyway, and then Joe Rogan, of course, his show was getting popular, and this podcast movement was becoming, this new thing that you could do. And I liked the idea of there being news that was alternative news, alternative media. I liked media that wasn't the mainstream pumping out propaganda and PR and literally, you know, being the mouthpiece for the establishment. I was like, wow, this is a cool new thing. Joe Rogan show seems kind of punk rock, controversial topics. Dave Smith's show is the same. And now you can see how this is exploded, and it's actually kind of blowing the mainstream media's credibility away. And people aren't watching CNN or MSNBC or Fox or Newsmax as much as they were. Like Joe Rogan's audience by itself is basically all of those combined. I don't think CNN even breaks a million viewers anymore. So
Yeah.
So anyway, so I was when I sat down, I was like, I could do a podcast. Well, what am I going to do a podcast on? Well, what do I know? I know politics and government because I was in the military and I studied it, and I know punk rock because I was in bands for 15 years. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I'm going to have a niche show. I'm going to put it together like a Saturday Night Live episode. It's like sketches, commercial, musical guest, and that's going
Mhm.
to be. And I'm going to set the show up like a song. So like intro, verse, chorus, verse, bridge,
Oh,
outro. And so that was kind of my thinking. I'm like, okay, this will be fun. Let's just try it. So I got the equipment, I learned the software and stuff, and I pressed play and started recording. And, if you go back and listen to probably my first 30, 40 episodes, they're garbage. But you can see if you listen to my shows, the progression of them, you can see where I'm getting better. I'm getting more concise. I'm, getting less emotional and more clear about certain things. I started out doing just audio only shows. Now I'm doing video. So yeah,
good.
so it's just and it became this therapeutic creative outlet, just like being in a band was. So that was my inspiration, and I'm still doing it. Just I think I'll probably always do it. The money doesn't really matter to me. I just wanted a DIY creative thing, and if people like to listen to it, so be it. So I used to say on the show that I do this podcast for me more than I do for you. So if you like listening to me run my mouth, then welcome to the party, man. Like, thanks for
Yeah.
being here.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel that's exactly why I started mine was just a reason to hang out with my friends and talk about music because I have
yeah.
kids now and all that exactly. And yeah, it's funny exactly. It's just it's nice that everyone has this ability and you really nailed it there too. Having news, that's why I like your podcast too. It's something that I really connect with, and it's not this weird, like you said, like narrative for the establishment.
Yeah,
Um,
and I have no agenda. I'm just honestly looking at what's happening and analyzing it and saying, hey, this is what it seems like to me. And I have people, I mean, just they hate. There are people that hate my guts
because you
because of
got to
some
pick
of
a
the things
team.
I've said.
You
Yeah,
get
but George Orwell, in the time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Being a truth teller in the modern day is the most punk rock thing you can do, in my opinion.
really is. I mean, and that really because like I said, it became so boring with it
Honesty is
where
punk rock these days.
yeah. And that's why I also like kind of gravitate to the but I don't have a band or anything as otherwise I would, but I did notice like in those years where it was complete like blue team and chart, like there was not any like real call outs, but suddenly they always do it when it's like team red. And I get it, but it's not refreshing. It's not it feels disingenuous, I guess is the point. Which I'm gonna
Right.
leads into my one of my final questions to you. So one, what gives you and I'll do it in both worlds. So I guess what do you feel like is the answer to you if you'd have to like say it in there for one, like getting punk rock back to its roots. I guess how do you think that will do you think it's anywhere but dead? I guess how can punk rock be better? Where do you feel like punk rock's going with how everything is?
Well, I'm reminded of the Rise Against album, Siren's Song of the Counterculture. The counterculture now needs to change, and I make this argument all the time. If you're a devout Team Blue person, if you're a devout F Trump person, and you start finding yourself, this is a famous Mark Twain quote. When you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect because yeah, I mean seriously, because it's not punk rock to be main. Like, if you want to be mainstream, cool, but don't say being pro Kamala Harris, pro Joe Biden, pro Team Blue, and f everything conservative and Republican and Trump about the world. uh, that's not really counterculture these days. That's the mainstream.
Yeah.
So I just want people to think about that more. That's how we get it back, is realize that it's not red versus blue. It's the government versus you.
You. Yes, yes, thank you. And that's what's funny too. So many people that don't seem to get that, where it's like, oh yeah, I really dislike our current president, but to be fair, I've disliked all our presidents,
All of them.
and they don't
That's
seem to
my thing.
like
And
get that.
I think the Trump hate comes from a big, and I say this all the time, a big part of that is how the media presents the stories about this person. If they're going to, I mean, have you seen the media demonize a president of the United States, a sitting president of the United States, ever in the way that they do Donald Trump? That's on purpose. They never talked about Obama like that. They never talked about Biden like that. I mean, George Bush, maybe a little
Bush
bit,
got some of the segments,
a,
but it was
a little
not
bit,
anywhere near
right?
how much it is with this one. And that's
And
what I
it's
think is
just
funny too.
fascinating.
Um,
That's go ahead. Yeah,
oh, I was gonna say I think it's funny too is there's many reasons to dislike him, which I do, but it
agreed.
seems to be like the reasons why they try to dislike him is this very like stuff that I guess yeah Kamala Harris would have done. I think right now where we're in, I think that we would
Mm,
be in the same situation if Harris was in. Right, I don't
same,
think it's
absolutely, 100%.
right.
Yep,
And I think a good example of that is one with the Epstein files. Gonna jump in the Epstein files thing is people seem to forget that Team Blue with a blue House, Senate, everything was sitting on these files. They could have done it then. They let him run, and they let him run, saying he was going to release them. And then we sell you all this stuff, and now they're not going to. Which is like, is there a bigger example of the Uniparty flipping us off than just the Epstein files? Watching it cycle from Team Blue to Team Red and nothing happening. You know?
yep, yep. And getting both of them. It's funny because you can see as soon as the Team Red or Team Blue starts espousing ideas that they demonized before that were more controversial to them, more, and then something happens that goes, oh, that supports my team, even though it used to be a talking point for the other side. I don't care about that. I'm going to pretend that that's not true. But now that my team's talking about it like this, now that's what I think. And it's like you're literally giving power of attorney of your mind over to the propagandists when you do that. You have fallen right into their trap. That is the opposite of punk rock.
Yeah, man. All right, so that goes into my final question to you here. This is a heavy one though. So, what do you feel is the answer politically on this too? Because and I guess is it pessimistic or do you have optimism on how you think things will be going? And what do you think is the answer to really bring down the system in the way we know it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to bring down the system, but I want, first of all, you need better education. You need to be teaching people the realities of this world and not whatever the hell we teach in schools these days. Um, and people need to, and this is part of the reason why I do my show, and I probably always will, is you need to, media exists to make money. It is not, they're never going to tell you 100% of the truth. They want to sensationalize it and stir up your emotions and get you riled up so that you go pull the levers for one of your favorite Team Blue or Team
Yeah.
Red candidates. And if you can't see that or understand that, that's your area of opportunity. That's step one, is realizing that it's not about the red versus blue. And then the second thing is you know, if you're going to say I'm anti-mainstream, anti-establishment, and I want to make things better, I'm progressive, I care about people, I have empathy. Okay, if you really have those qualities, then you're not going to scream and spit and punch and fight and yell at people for having a differing viewpoint than you. And if we can't have logical, rational conversations about real tough topics without freaking out and wanting to stab each other to death, then it's a fool's errand. It's a futile endeavor trying to change anything for the better. If you can't regulate your emotions and come to a peaceful conversation with manners and with being an adult and not acting like a petulant child because you didn't get your way. That's the biggest problem with a lot of people in this country, in my opinion. And the reason why they have the luxury of not being smart is because that's how good they have it, and they don't even appreciate how much better we have it, our standard of living and our lot in life in this country versus many, many, many countries around the world. They have no perspective. You know what I mean? They don't have knowledge of worldly things. All they know is what that TV screen tells them, and that's the problem. If you want to change this country, stop believing everything your TV screen tells you.
Yeah. And it's been yes, I think we've been saying that for a long time.
And you got to read, and you got to read. You have to look at history, look at what happened that this led to this, led to this, that got us here. This person that I thought was great, oh, I did a little research on them, and I find out that they're complete freaking scumbags. You
Yeah.
know, like Like, where does are you willing to change your mind and change your support for things when new information is presented to you that says to you, if you're a rational, logical thinker, hey, I was wrong. Like a lot of people can't even, they don't have the humility to say, shit, I was wrong. My bad. I'm sorry I came after you for that. Now that I know this, you were right, I was wrong, my bad. Let's bro out and let's be friends. But people can't even admit when they're wrong anymore. They're so scared to be wrong. And they have this desire to just force their viewpoint down people's throats. And I don't, I mean, I've never been ridiculed or mocked into agreement. Have you?
No,
You know
no.
what I mean? I've
Um,
never been ridiculed or mocked into changing my opinion. As soon as you ridicule or mock me, now rational discussion goes out the window, and now I kind of want to fight you. So, you know
yeah,
what I mean? That's the problem, in my opinion. That's how you change everything.
yeah. Thank you on that. And I think it's good self-awareness too. And if we're gonna change it, start like with this song again, we'll go back to analog, that kind of rebirth, finding yourself out, not going down that easy road. And I think if you find yourself really part of either Team Blue or Team Red, maybe asking yourself why. And a lot of conversations I have with people is because of, like you just said there, they want to, they just have such a hate and distaste for the other team. That's why they're that team. They
And they
don't
don't know why. And they don't know why. It's because the media talking point told them that
yeah.
Trump's the most evil, horrible person that's ever existed in the history of the human race. And then you go look at what Hitler did in Germany, and you're like, no, Trump is a school teacher compared to what Hitler was. So to
Mhm.
relate the two is just disingenuous. And that kind of rhetoric turns the temperature up in society. And if you want war in the streets, keep doing what you're doing, and that's what you're going to get. And that's what I want people to realize is that you are complicit. Your words, your behavior are part of the problem, whether you want to admit that to yourself or not.
I like it there. I'm going to leave it, end it on that note. All right, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you being here. And yeah, I'm going to turn this part off. Yep.
Thanks a lot.